Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Stryd webinar. As always, my name is Evan. I'm your host of the show. Today, we're going to be taking another look, a final look at this two-week webinar series, a closer look at the Stryd training ecosystem. We just had a major software release last week, and this is putting a lot of the pieces of the puzzle together. So we're going to be taking a look at training, basically going from step 1, step A, all the way through step Z, the last step based on this software release. Before we do get started, we encourage you, if you're watching right now, to feel free to give the stream or video a thumbs up, and then also subscribe if you are not subscribed. Subscribing costs you nothing on YouTube, and it really helps us out to have more people watching these videos. You can also turn on notifications and be alerted anytime we go live with a new video. Today, we're again going to be talking about training, and the first topic is basing your workout on critical power. It makes planning and sharing your workouts easy. So the first thing we're going to be, again, talking about is building a workout, and specifically relating it to percentage of critical power. Now, in this example, we're using a platform called Final Surge, which is one of the third parties that you can use to build a workout and then send it to the Stryd ecosystem. We can see here that we have a running segment based on time. The time is for 10 minutes. And using percentage of critical power helps make sure that whatever target you have, it changes with your fitness, and the intensity will stay the same relative to your fitness all the time. So one thing to know about training A to Z with Stryd is basing your workouts off of percentage of critical power, and you can do that very easily on these third-party platforms. Specifically here on Final Surge, we can see percent of your FTP, which will be the same thing for working purposes as your percentage of critical power. Another thing to know is how to convert pace and heart rate targets. You can convert your favorite workouts to power if you normally go off of pace or you normally go off of heart rate. So one major thing to know here, and we had a great email go out earlier today, and you can always head to blog.stryd.com for more information on these webinars. We had a great blog go out talking about how to translate pace, the strategies you can use in specific scenarios to translate specific paces to power ranges. We also have converting heart rate zones to power zones. The zone on the left, the Carvin heart rate zones, this will be something if you're used to using resting heart rate as sort of a guide, resting and max heart rate. We have a pretty easy translation here, all the way from zone 1 through zone 5. They translate very, very well. And then if you're normally used to using a threshold heart rate zone, like you might find in TrainingPeaks, you can convert that to the same zone 1 through 5 in the Stryd power zone. So this is another thing to know about implementing training with power if you haven't already. And the third thing here is using Stryd's model curve, making your workouts challenging and realistic. This is an example of my model curve in Stryd's Power Center. We can see that for this specific example, if I want to do, maybe 10-second strides or 10-second hill repeats, and I want to do 8 of them, I might hover right around my 40 to 45 second modeled ability, and I might do these for hill repeats. You can hover over any point of the model curve and make sure that your target is not too aggressive. So let's say, for example, I want to do 5 times 4 minutes at my 20-minute power with a 3-minute jog in between. I'll hover over my 20-minute ability and see what that modeled ability is, and make sure that I'm not overshooting what I think I can do for that specific target. Training A to Z, again, we're going to get into a specific sort of routine here. We're going to look at how I created a workout, executed a workout, and then I analyze a workout. And this is actually a run I did a couple hours ago. This is a workout I did this morning, and I was really excited to put everything to the test and show you exactly how we can go from programming a workout in a third party, having it be on my watch during a run, and then look at the training analysis afterwards, and kind of put all of these core concepts together that we have been taking a look at over the past 2 weeks. So first thing, in this specific example, again, we're going to be building a workout on Final Surge. I just opened the Final Surge website. I tap the plus button to add a workout on my desired date. So in this example, we zoomed in on the calendar. If you just hover over the regular calendar on the web, you can see this plus button. A note here that workouts can only be fetched to the Stryd ecosystem 5 days in advance. You can plan out a lot of stuff on your calendar, but you do have only a certain allotment of days for these workouts to actually be viewable in the Stryd ecosystem if you use a third party like this. After I press that plus button, I get into the building a workout menu. So I can choose the date of my workout. I can choose the activity type. I can give my run or workout a name. So we can see here this specific workout I'm talking about is 12 times 1 minute at 3K effort with 30 seconds jog recovery. Then you can have the option of filling in a description and then adding a planned distance or time. Some people really like to, write themselves notes in the description. You might want to plan out some weekly volume, whether that's running by time or that's running by distance. And if you do this in the Final Surge side, it'll actually keep track of a running estimated total distance or total time for the week. So that's a great option. And then the last step is to go down to the bottom right corner, look at the little arrow and press that, and then press add and open workout builder. When we're actually on the screen to get to the workout builder, we have a couple options. We can select the heart rate, we can select the pace, but the thing we're going to be talking about, as you could probably guess, is selecting power. We can use absolute power values. We can select from power zones, like we just talked about translating other power zones. Then we can also enter percentages of your FTP. And the thing to know is that FTP and critical power are interchangeable in this context in terms of programming workouts. So when we actually get to build a workout, we get put to this next screen. This next screen on the very left side will have this menu to let you rename a workout. So let's say that you don't necessarily want the full name on your device, maybe your Garmin watch, your Apple Watch. Maybe we just want to say 12 times 1 at 3K. And so we can actually change the name here, and that's a great tool. We can change between, again, power, pace, and heart rate. You can edit your running FTP wattage here. So if we are going off of a certain percentage, I might want to edit and add my critical power, my FTP, in this case on the Final Surge platform. Then we can also go back, and the third option here is to change the workout title and the workout description. The main bulk of the screen is going to be focused around this actual building setup, which I really enjoy. We can add a step, we can add a repeat, and we can add a ramp. And for this workout, we have a step, which is our warm-up. Then we have a repeat, which is going to be 12 times 1 minute with 30 seconds recovery. And then we have another step, which is a cool down. We don't use the ramp for this workout specifically, but it is an option that you can use in the Final Surge side. So this is going to be sort of the default view you get. You get a warm-up with a time of 0, no targets of any kind. You have 2 basic repeats just in case you do want to add any. You can easily remove any of these. The menu is very easy to work with, and then you have a basic cooldown, again, with no targets there. When we look at the warm-up, I will talk through my specific scenario a little bit later. I actually have a pretty set warm-up that I do, and I actually save that as its own separate workout because it's a multi-step workout with a couple different intensities. For this workout, I wanted to give an example of what it actually looks like building the full thing. So my warm-up is time-based. I leave the time as the default. I set it for 1 minute easy jogging and my target of 200 to 240 watts. The next part is the main bulk is going to be the actual workout. So you can either press the plus button or the minus button to adjust the numbers up and down, or you can just hover over that, highlight it, and then enter the number of repeats you want to do. In this case, again, it's 12. So I entered the number 12. I left the run and rest segments as they were, and I changed the time for the run to 1 minute with a target of 340 to 380 watts. And I changed the rest from having no target to having 200 to 240 watts. And I'll talk about these targets in just a little bit. which is right now. So this workout specifically is more focused around VO2 max or a 3-kilometer intensity. It's really kind of a primer for a race effort to come. So next week I'll be doing a 10K time trial, and this is something to get the legs moving a little bit quicker and to work on that little bit faster running. How do I come up with the power targets, though, you might ask? Well, I used the Stryd race power calculator. I went to stryd.com/power center. I changed the distance to 3 kilometers. I left the surface as road because I'd be doing my workout on the road. I left the elevation the same, the temperature the same, the humidity the same, and I pressed the calculate button. And it gave me a target of 360 watts for the on. I wanted to give myself a little bit of flexibility to start out a little bit below target. Again, like we've talked about so many times, whether we're running a time trial or a race effort, we want to give ourselves the ability to start out a little below goal effort, work our way up to the goal effort, and then exceed the goal effort a little bit and practice that racing strategy at the end. So it's always good to have that buffer in that range there. I decided on a 20 watt plus and minus for me, just to feel it out and see how things went. It was a little more on the chilly side this morning here in Boulder, Colorado, so I wanted to give myself a little bit more flexibility for that as well. But I simply used the Stryd race power calculator. Again, entered the distance of 3 kilometers because this was the intensity that I had for my goal. I pressed calculate, and then I looked at my target, which was 360 watts, and I said, okay, 340 to 380 is my target for the on. What should my target for the off be? And this is definitely dependent on, how you program a workout or how a coach might recommend a workout. For me, I look at my zone 1, my easy zone. Again, this is from Stryd Power Center, or I can use the Stryd mobile app for this. My easy zone is 214 to 264 watts. And that's a good starting point. But because this intensity was very intense relative to the stuff that I had been doing, I wanted to bump that down a little bit. So I decided on 200 to 240 watts was a pretty nice round number that would make sure I would recover in the short time that I have in between these repeats. So the last thing to wrap it up is adding a cool down. Again, this is the default view with a warm-up, standard block of repeats, and then a cool down. So I just simply edited that. I could probably build this workout in about 15 or 20 seconds if I had to. That's how easy the system is. It's a great system to interact with, and it makes planning and also making your workouts not a hassle, which I very much enjoy. I ran the workout. I used the Stryd Apple Watch app. You can also use Garmin. For me, I had my warm-up. Again, specifically, I mentioned I have a very, very specific warm-up workout, which I'll show off in just a second. But the main thing I want to highlight here on this slide is the importance of tagging your run. So I tagged the run as a warm-up. My primary surface was road. I ran in my Nike Pegasus 37s. For my shoe, my perceived effort was easy, and I felt good. And that's how quick it is to tag a run. You only have to go through 5 options, and it gives you a lot of information over time. Tagging my runs for the workout. So this was a fartlek style workout because it was time-based intervals. My primary surface was road. I ran in a pair of Saucony Endorphin Speeds. My perceived effort was hard. So I started getting in that kind of top range. It was a hard effort, and I felt good for this. Again, so this just shows how easy it is to tag your workout. And again, we've highlighted this a lot in the past webinars this week, but it is something I definitely like to continue bringing up. So let's look at the specific workout breakdown. Like I mentioned, my warm-up specifically, I have a very, very specific block. And for me, this is a workout I designed in Final Surge. It's a 10-minute easy warm-up, and I again put that between 200 to 240 watts. It was below freezing outside, so I started a little bit easier, a little bit slower. So I was a tiny bit below that range that I gave myself. Then I have a 3-minute run segment of between 200, I think it's between 270 and about 310 watts, something like that, just a little up-tempo moderate, so I get into that zone 2. So it's basically all zone 2 running. Then I have a 2-minute easy segment, again, between 200 and 240 watts. And then I have 4 times 20-second strides with a 40-second recovery in between. And we can see the absolutely beautiful illustration here on the screen when we look at the specific workout breakdown. I love this visualization so much to show you the different color-coded areas of each of these steps, what the intensity is going to be. It just really makes that, normally exciting power graph even more exciting. And so this is, something that I love just looking at the visualization at after a workout. But for this specifically, the warm-up, again, was a multi-step warm-up. And that's why I tag my warm-ups. That's why I have it as a separate activity. But this warm-up, I think, just looks beautiful as well and gets me prepared and ready to run a good intensity. So warm-up insights, like I mentioned, tagging your runs gives you insights. I can quickly glance through any of these insights and see if things are changing. 88% of my running duration has been on the road. That might signal to me that maybe next week I should get on, the trails for a little bit of an easier run, or get on the grass a little bit, maybe mix up some softer surfaces. I normally like to keep about an 80-20 split from some of that harder road running to some of the softer surface running. The warm-ups really don't take up a lot of duration for my overall running week, so having 6% of my running duration over the past 7 days being warm-ups is not surprising. And then the shoe chart is definitely something that I keep in mind as I continue to put miles and miles and miles on my pairs of shoes. The other insights here, typically for this warm-up, it is going to be about 80% in zone 1 with a little bit of intensity. We can see that time in zones chart has a nice distribution. And the perceived effort and feel charts, like we've mentioned, are normally used in conjunction with each other. And so you use them together. You look for any sort of trends that you might see there. But the thing that I take reassurance in is knowing that I rated this warm-up a 2 compared to a 2.0 for all warm-ups over the past 90 days. That means that things are right in line. If I somehow, rated this a 5 and it felt really bad, this might be a signal that I need to take a look at some of the, training over the past couple of days. How have I felt going into this run? So again, using the perceived effort chart and the field chart together gives you the best results possible. Now let's look at the actual workout. Again, I had a 1-minute easy jog. I typically do change shoes after my warm-up if I'm running a little bit faster. So I like to make sure I am jogging a little bit and I'm staying warm right before I start my workout. And then we have 12 times 1 minute with a range again from 340 to 380 with a 30-second recovery period. And we can see again, the basic illustration here. We can see the green bar to represent the warm-up. We can see the vertical blue bars representing the 1 minute on section. And we can also see the gray bars in between representing that recovery section as well. So let's take a little bit closer look at this specific workout. Again, if we click into specific sections, we can get a little bit different view. So if I were to click on this screen where I can see this arrow in this middle section where it says the 1 minute segments, if I were to click on that, the chart would snap to that specific section. It would show me those specific repeats. I can also look at the split view and get a very easy to look at high-level overview of all the splits and how they were trending. The left and right bounds, again, represent the target. If the number is in green, it means that you were in the middle of that. If it is in gray, it means you were a little bit below that. And if it is in yellow, it means you're above the top area where you specifically said you wanted to set your target to. So for me, this workout was a total win. The other thing I would definitely like to point out too is that if I'm looking at a couple different repeats, maybe in my own analysis, I see repeat 4 at 351 watts, which had been the highest power output since the very start. And then the next repeat is 337. Maybe I want to take a look at those 2 different repeats and see maybe specifically where I was in the course. This loop course features a little bit of an uphill and a little bit of a downhill. So maybe I wasn't running hard enough on either the uphill or the downhill. Maybe, I had to dodge traffic or something like that. This gives a little bit of a, again, very high level overview to help me understand some more about my running. And when I look at some of these rest repeats as well, I noticed towards the end, I'm actually increasing my power a lot on the recoveries, specifically, what is this, repeat number 10, the on is 345 watts, which is, again, right in the middle of the range that I set. And then the recovery is 222, which is the highest of the entire workout. And so maybe I want to take a look at that and say, maybe I could have gone harder. Maybe I could have eased back on that recovery a little bit and actually gone a little bit harder for some of those previous repeats as well. So this is the sort of analysis that I like to get from a high level overview. But then I remember that I can go into every single one of these repeats and I can look at the specific metric breakdowns and I can see the trend in the graph for each one of those repeats as well to give me more information. Let's look at the insights now. So when we look at this run, we have a power duration curve. We can see the actually kind of really cool graphical thing that comes from a power duration curve in a fartlek workout. So we have this little squiggly line that almost looks like a saw or something like that, because I'm going really high intensity and then backing down intensity, high intensity, back down intensity. So that moving averaging window for a power duration curve is fun to look at least in my opinion. So didn't set any bests on this workout, but that, again, wasn't the point. I can see, again, the surface type, it's the same thing as the warm-up, essentially. 88% of my running duration over the preceding 7 days had been on road. My run type is fartlek. I hadn't done any fartleks over the past week, so this makes sense that 3% of my running duration, which was only 19 minutes for this workout, 3% of my running duration has been from fartleks. If I was getting into a little bit more general preparation phase, I might not be on the track, I might not be doing as much threshold. An introductory workout might be a fartlek, and I might have a little bit more percentage fartleks in my training. Other workout insights here, the thing that I picked up immediately from this is that I rated this run a 7 compared to a 5.6 for all fartleks over the preceding 90 days. So for me, this was actually a harder fartlek than I'd been doing. And there are a couple ways you can look at this specifically. In my mind, it means that I'm starting to get to the fitness level where doing time-based workouts on the road, I'm actually feeling more fit and more confident to press harder and give myself that ability to actually seek out that harder effort, which was what today was all about. This also makes sense because, again, like I mentioned, I've been doing a lot more 5K or 10K effort work or power work. And so switching to 3K should feel harder. So this is reassuring, but it is also highlighting something that I kind of knew, but it's good to see and good to have on the log there specifically for this type of workout and this type of trend. The time and zones, this is also reassuring. The fact that I had, again, minute on, 30 seconds off. It was a zone 4 workout, like I mentioned, a VO2 max style workout. And so having that zone 4 and that zone distribution be just under 60%, that means I was right in line with hitting my zones. 81% of my running duration of the last 7 days has been in zone 1. Some people throw out, the 80-20 rule, having 80% easy and then 20% intensity. This just happens to line up pretty close to that, but this is something that I like to check every run as well. Then we can see I'm starting to get, approaching halfway on my allotted limits for my Saucony endorphin speeds on the shoe card. Let's talk about takeaways now. So takeaway number 1 is to explore the split view after repeats. Split view enhances your understanding. Again, if you do any sort of repeats, whether that's the Stryd native training plans or you build your own workouts and then have those for analysis in the Stryd ecosystem, the split view really helps you understand repeats more. We bundle like repeats together and then let you expand those. We give you the ability to, again, have that high level understanding of all of the different repeats in that specific split view. And then you can always click into those to understand more about that specific repeat as well. Takeaway 2 is take time to tag and analyze insights. Insights become more important as you complete more similar workouts. Like I mentioned, I drew just, again, from the 10 seconds total that it took me to tag my runs, I drew a lot of important insights. The fact that I had my zone distribution right where I wanted it to be on my specific workout today. I had a harder fartlek than I normally do because now is the time of the season where I'm trying to get a little bit faster and I'm trying to work on some of that higher intensity. So I gave myself the opportunity to work hard today, and I did that, and the insight shows me that based on how I rated it. I also can keep track of my shoe mileage and make sure that I'm not overrunning any of my shoes. Takeaway number 3, take control of your training with structured workouts. You can plan on a third party like I showed on Final Surge, and you can transfer it to the Stryd ecosystem. So we can view all this data on Power Center. We can do this in the mobile app as well. So take control of your training with structured workouts and use all of the tools that you have. Again, my allotted workout today was 12 times 1 minute at 3K intensity. Instead of guessing, I just went straight to the race power calculator, input my 3K current ability in the conditions that I'd be running, and I got a really realistic power target that ended up helping my workout target, and I ran really, really well today. So I was really, really happy with using all of those tools together. Plugging Stryd, you can go to store.stryd.com and purchase today if you have not already. And this, wrapping up all this training from A to Z, incorporating third-party platforms, creating training plans or workouts, sending them to your compatible watch, running that workout on the watch, having it go to the Stryd mobile app, tagging your run to get the valuable insights, all the trends, all the great post-run information. This is all part of our brand new software release that came out last week, and this is available now. And we're super excited to keep developing on top of it. That wraps it up for this presentation, so we will turn it over to any questions that might have come in. It looks like we have at least one here. So if anybody watching right now does have any other questions, please feel free to send them along. On April 2nd, myself and Colby enthused about the Watch Workout Builder in 3.0 Plus. This has now been moved. Will the Workout Builder return to the watch or the mobile app and be a free option? So yeah, we initially had that as pretty much the only way we could get a workout on a watch and really get that experience going. We removed the manual creator since importing from third-party platforms like Final Surge, like we showed, it provides a better overall experience, but also we have the native training plans on the Stryd system as well. So we do think that the workout builders on these other platforms are definitely less stressful than building a workout on the watch. But we're definitely excited about potential future options as well to get more abilities to create workouts as well. But the options that I showed a little bit earlier in the presentation too are a great and easy way and very, very easy to incorporate in your own training. And I do want to plug as well, our support team and our software team has done a great job at writing help documents and any sort of walkthroughs. So if you have any questions, chances are you can find the answer at stryd.com/support. We have a great knowledge base there to give you a lot of information about pretty much anything on the Stryd ecosystem. So it looks like that's it for the questions. I do appreciate everybody tuning in today. We'll be back next week with more content, more webinar content specifically. I want to thank anybody who has tuned in over those last 2 weeks. It's been fun talking over some of these features. If you do have any questions at all, you can always comment on this video. You can follow us on social media at Stryd Running. You can send us any questions you have as well to support@stryd.com. Again, that wraps it up